klesha dayatyaje sakritva rajasam tyagam naiva tyaga phalam labhe. Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to elevation of renunciation. So we are in the concluding chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad-gita as it is. So various questions of Arjuna have been answered by Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And Madhvacharya makes this important point or an important consideration that we should have when we are studying Srimad Bhagavad-gita. He says that the chapters of the Bhagavad-gita are nothing but the progressive stages of our realization. He says that every shloka, as we progress from the very first shloka, Sri Dhritarashtra Vacha, up to the very last shloka, Sri Sanjaya Vacha, with every shloka, what is being revealed to us is the mind of Krishna. So what Krishna is thinking about his creation and is thinking about his created entities that is being revealed between the wonderful conversation between the Lord and this supreme devotee. So this should be the manner in which the Bhagavad-gita is approached. That's what Sripad Madhvacharya he claims. And Srila Prabhupada makes a similar statement. If we go to the purport of the very first shloka of Bhagavad-gita, Srila Prabhupada gives us the technique on how we should read Bhagavad-gita. If you can just read that very first few lines of the first purport of the very first shloka.
Bhagavad-gita is the widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad-gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna.
Very nice. So this is what Srila Prabhupada expects from every one of his disciples. We are all his disciples because he is the founder Acharya. So being the founder Acharya of this wonderful institution, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada gives us the guideline by which we should be studying the Bhagavad-gita. So that's a very profound statement that Srila Prabhupada is actually making here. He says that one should read Bhagavad-gita very scrutinizingly. So this word has got meanings in many dimensions. It's not a very simple word. It looks very harmless when you say it in English, but actually if you try to understand what the founder Acharya wants to convey in this one word, is can become, somebody can do a PhD probably in this one word and fill up a full thesis on what Srila Prabhupada means by this word scrutinizingly. See, and if you recall all the classes that happened in this very same hall which led up to this shloka today, the 18th chapter, the 8th shloka. So this is what was trying to be conveyed. We've seen big stalwarts giving classes here. I've heard a few of them myself. Srila Prabhuji's lectures are very deep, highly analyzed, researched. So we have such wonderful devotees in our presence who have churned this message and have conveyed it to us. So why somebody takes that effort? Why somebody puts that effort? Because of this point of Srila Prabhupada, that we need to study the Bhagavad-gita very scrutinizingly. So that is what happened from the first chapter up and until the last shloka of the 18th chapter, where Arjuna is not accepting what Krishna is proposing. If Arjuna should accept Lord Krishna's proposal, then there need not be 700 shlokas of the Bhagavad-gita. The Bhagavad-gita could have ended much earlier. Because when Sri Bhagavan Vacha came on the second chapter of the Bhagavad-gita itself, the message was very clear. Klebyam masmaganam partha naitavyam upapadyate. Krishna gave the answer very clearly. Shudram irdaya daurbalyam tattva uttishta parantapa. You already gave the message. Okay, all that you are trying to say here is nothing but misconception that has arisen from the weakness of heart. So the diagnosis is already done, and the remedy is already provided. So then why did Bhagavad Gita go beyond that? So that's because Srila Prabhupada gives the message of that in his purport, where he says, and where he solidifies this point of the claim that he made, that we need to study the Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly. So Sri Krishna's every conversation that we hear after that claim which Lord Krishna makes in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it says that how Lord Krishna is imploring Arjuna to rise in his consciousness. And the proof of that raising of consciousness is very evident in the questions that Arjuna poses, from the quality and the premise on which the questions were built on the first chapter, leading up to the beginning of the second chapter. And after having heard Krishna, we can see the premise and the quality of questions which Arjuna poses to Lord Krishna as vastly different from the first level of questions that we ask. So what does this say to us? So this is a very clear proof that Arjuna's consciousness is on the rise, because the quality of questions are much different. And Krishna is happy about this whole thing, that Arjuna's consciousness is rising, because this is the main purpose for which the Bhagavad Gita is spoken, so that we can rise in our consciousness. So we have gone through these chapters and we are on the 18th chapter now. So the expectation is that our consciousness has already risen. So how do we test where is the consciousness now? Are we able to accept what is about to be said on the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Because it's saying, this is the concluding chapter. So if we have really been honest to Srila Prabhupada, when we started the first purport, where we accepted this verdict of Srila Prabhupada that yes, I will read this Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly, then we should be more or less conscious-wise on the similar status as Arjuna is, as he is hearing the shloka. So that should be our test, whether we have approached Bhagavad Gita in similar level of consciousness. But we are all minute jivas, product of the modern world. In 2018, there is a very tall expectation from anybody to try and understand Bhagavad Gita in the same spirit that Arjuna understood the Bhagavad Gita. But nevertheless, Srila Prabhupada has made it very simple for us. So that's why we have the Bhaktivedanta purports. The Bhaktivedanta purports, what it does is it simplifies that which is complex. Because we say the Bhagavad Gita, the Upanishads, the Vedanta Sutras are complex. The reason they are not actually complex, the truth is they are in poetic form. So that's why when we get to do the Parayana, just chanting the verses of the Bhagavad Gita, it is done in a certain meter. It's called the Anushtup Chanda. The Anushtup Chanda meter, which we saw Sadanand Prabhu chant when we chanted the shloka verse today. So he chanted in that Anushtup Chanda meter. So that's the meter. So some composition that needs to be chanted in that meter is only possible if it is presented in a very poetic way. And Krishna likes poetry. That's why all his devotees have only praised Krishna in poetic form. So we are not very comfortable with poetry, so we find all this to be quite complex. So to help us overcome this constraint that we have in understanding something that is given in a poetic form, Srila Prabhupada, out of his costless mercy, he has broken it down and given it to us in prose format, which is in his Bhakti-vedanta purports, which will help us understand the same important instructions which Krishna is so kindly giving Arjuna in his effort to rise his consciousness. So specifically approaching towards today's verse, we will just look at a few brief important instructions which Sri Krishna has given Arjuna already, which led up to this verse. Because every shloka of Bhagavad-gita has to be understood and meditated in conjunction with the previous shlokas, so that we are well placed in the context. Because a lot of people take Bhagavad-gita out of context and try to hijack us in a completely different way. This is what happened when that famous case that was filed in Russia against the Bhagavad-gita, as it is, claiming that this is a book that preaches violence against society. So that was their claim. So this wonderful person Arjuna is so peace-loving, and he is such a ahimsavadi, and he wants simply to retire to the forest and be on his own. And your so-called God, Krishna, is actually inciting violence against this person. So what kind of a God is he? What kind of a book is this? So this is a clear verse that is taken out of context. Because this shows that this person has definitely not studied the first chapter of Bhagavad-gita. And also the good up to the middle portion of the second chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. Because anybody who has studied the Bhagavad-gita systematically from the very first shloka will not make such an absurd statement. And Srila Prabhupada names the first chapter beautifully. He says that the setting of the scene. So he's actually giving us a full background on what happened just before what is about to happen now. So this message is quite clear. But we can take things out of context and we can think. There's a true incident that happened in Nashik. The devotee that was giving the class was His Grace Ishtashtakam Prabhu, and there was a good amount of audience that was sitting in the hall trying to understand the Bhagavad-gita. And after the class, the question answer session was there, and one of the devotee present in that thing, he said, you Hare Krishna people, you have a problem with everything which everybody else does. You seem to be live in your own dimension, in your own world, which is completely different from general public, how they live. Where in the Bhagavad-gita or where in any of the scriptures or where in the Shastras it is said that one should not drink tea? So this was his question. So the question was itself out of context, but Prabhu was kind enough to take that question. He said, no, he said that it is not explicitly said in the Bhagavad-gita, but it is basic etiquette. Like if you are approaching something, it's like you approaching a medicine. So with the medicine comes certain rules and regulation on how you should have the medicine. It is not enough that you simply go to the doctor, reveal your situation and take medicine, and instead of taking the medicine, you just put it in your cupboard, you don't become alright. Right? I've done all the other things right. I went to the doctor, I've explained to him my situation, he has prescribed me some medicines, I went to the drugstore, I purchase the medicines and I put them in my cupboard and I lock them. So would I get ready? Would I get well? No, because we need to take the medicine, and we need to take the medicine in the way that we are expected to take the medicine. Then the medicine works. So similarly, we are having the sickness of Bhavarog, and the method how we should cleanse ourselves from this sickness is given by Prabhupada. And in that, there are 4 regulative principles, and one regulative principle is not to have any intoxicating agent. And the intoxicating agent is anything that we feel is going to make us a victim of that particular sense. Okay, if there is a risk that we will be subjugated by that sensory pleasure, then it is an intoxicant. It could be mild, it could be severe, it could be life-threatening. That's not the message here. The message is there is a good chance that we might fall a victim to that sensory pleasure. So all that needs to be avoided. It is just gentlemanly attitude. And Srila Prabhupada made this claim very clearly. He said this, just maintaining these 4 regulatory processes will not guarantee you bhakti. He never claimed that. He said this will make you gentlemen. So first from animal become man, and from human you become a gentle human. And only for that is this 4 regulation principle. It doesn't guarantee bhakti in itself. So this Prabhu, this devotee said, okay, Prabhu, I understand your point. So what are you trying to convey here? He says that I will convey from the Shastric evidence that Krishna has allowed us that we can drink tea. Wow, he said. Really, the Shastras mention, because as long as my knowledge goes, there was no concept of chai at that time. When the Shastra and the Upanishads were, compiled by the great rishis. Okay, still he was curious. Okay, what is this person trying to convey here? Then he said, I will quote a verse right from the Bhagavad-gita to prove mine. This is the praman. I'll give you the proof that yes, we can drink tea, and Krishna himself drinks tea. Oh, this is something, fantastic, because people have this. In the name of Gita Sar, we have so many things that are already going around in the world. So I thought maybe there's one more thing, which maybe I missed out in reading from the Bhagavad-gita, but I was curious to know. And he quoted this famous verse, which often repeated verse of Srila Prabhupada to prove his point that Krishna drinks tea and it is okay for us to drink tea. And the shloka he quoted is Sarvasya chaham idishan nivishto matas mritir dhyanam apohanam cha. He said Sarvasya cha. Not just one type of tea, all teas, green tea, blue tea, black tea, orange tea, pink tea, every tea Krishna has. Aham. Sarvasya cha aham. He said, I take. But there is a process in which sannivishto, it should be made in the stove. So Bhagavad-gita can be, I'm sorry, it's a very important verse, but this person in that temple in Nashik that day actually made this very startling argument. So this shows the ignorance that we generally carry towards the Bhagavad-gita. So this was presented as a humorous piece just to convey this point that we can take shelter of the Bhagavad-gita and propose something which is extremely stupid or extremely unqualified approach towards presenting the Bhagavad-gita. So at least Srila Prabhupada has saved us from such idiosyncrasies. He has presented us the Bhagavad-gita in a way that it is meant to be understood, and it will definitely elevate us in our everyday practices, and it will elevate us in our consciousness, and that is what is expected by Lord Krishna when he spoke the Bhagavad-gita, because that was and the proof of that was how Arjuna's conduct changed during the course of this wonderful dialogue that happened between them. So here we'll just delve a few more minutes very quickly trying to understand the main shlokas that made us approach this particular shloka, where Srila Prabhupada elaborates like how we elaborated in today's purport on the same point, and how Krishna implores us on how today's same point. He talks about renunciation. The previous shloka was in the following three shlokas, 7, 8, 9 will talk about renunciation in the three modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. So this is not the first time that Lord Krishna is trying to emphasize on this factor. This is spoken in the Bhagavad-gita on various occasions, but in different way. In the second chapter, on the 64th verse, he gives this flame: Raga Dvesha Vimuktestu Vishayan Indriyascharan Atmavasya Videyatma Prasadam Vadigacchati. So he gives the clue on how the prasadam, the mercy of the Lord, Adigacchati. Adigacchati is how we obtain the mercy of the Lord. So this he is giving right from the beginning of the Bhagavad-gita, in the second chapter, where he talks about the summary of the Gita, the essence of Gita summarized, the contents of Gita summarized. The Srila Prabhupada names the chapter. There itself, Srila Prabhupada, in the same purport of the 2.64 shloka, he emphasized this. So this pretty much conveys the gist of what is going to come to us in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. These two words are very significant for us. He says, Atma Vashyer Videya Atma. So the message of surrender is already conveyed in these two words. But there is a good chance that Arjuna did not understand it in the same significance as he would understand later in the 18th chapter of Bhagavad-gita, when Lord says, Sarvadharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Swaranam. So this Atma Vashyer Videya Atma is not different from Sarvadharman Parityajya. It pretty much conveys the same message. It's Atma Vashyer. That means you are Anu Atma, and your only benefit is aligning your interest towards me. So this is the message of Atma Vashyer. Give me your mind intelligence. This is what Krishna claims in this. And he says, Videya Atma. Srila Prabhupada makes a beautiful translation. He says, one who follows regulated freedom. So today's verse, again, when we talk about renunciation in goodness, passion, and in ignorance, it again talks about the same regulation. There should be regulation in our life. Without regulation, nothing happens. But we are so, what should I say? We are so alright, with the regulations that come at our office, the regulations that come at our home, the regulation that comes with the place that we live. But we start to rebel when there is a regulation that is given by Krishna. So where we should be rebelling, we are accepting. And where we should be accepting, there we are rebelling. So this is what Srila Prabhupada came here to cure. This stubbornness that we have and to clarify our misconceptions. Clarify our misconceptions. That is what Srila Prabhupada has come here to say. Then we will go to the same message that was given by Krishna, but here we are on the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, 10th verse, where Lord Krishna talks about who can obtain Krishna consciousness. Because the question is, Mat bhavam agataha. Mat bhavam. Yat prayati samad bhavam. I give him my qualities, Krishna claims. But he says that who can obtain my bhava, or who can obtain that same feelings of pure love in reciprocation to what I have for my devotees. He said, you have to do something. What? Vitaraga bhaya krodha. So these three things have to be eliminated from our life. What is that? Raga, attachment towards this material nature and our material possessions. So that has to go. And he says bhaya, fear of losing that which is anyway going to be lost. Even if you want to, you can't save it, because jatasya hi dhruva mrityu dhruva janma mrutasya cha. So this one thing that is 100% guaranteed, like they say, as sure as death. So that's the one that we fear the most, which is sure. But other things, we might get a promotion, we might not get a promotion, there could be a bonus, there need not be a bonus. That the children can listen to you, may not listen to you. The wife could be affectionate, not affectionate. All these are all subjected to. There are a lot of probabilities, permutations. But one thing that will definitely happen is death. So but that bhaya has to be lost. Vita. The main important thing is vita. Raga, bhaya and krodha. Krodha is something like, it's the most precious ornament that we all own. That's one of our most prized possession. Krodha. It could be against anything. It could be like, okay, everybody was served like 25 gulab jamuns, but along with the 25 gulab jamuns, I received very little that water. Why is that? What did I do wrong? Or what did the other person do so good that he also got the 25 gulab jamun, that's all right, but the ras was little more for him. Why is that? So we get extremely angry. And we could get angry and things like, which are extremely stupid. So there is no proper premise on which that we are angry. But Krishna says, as long as you have these great opulences with you, which is Rag, Bhai and Krodh, forget about me or forget about my mercy. Because the point here is, we're talking about mercy. Everything that we do is what? To attract this mercy. Right? All the efforts that we are taking is for what? Mercy. But he says that how will you attain that mercy? Vita Raga, Bhaya Krodha. And then in the 6th chapter, he again implores the same point. Verse number 25. He says, Shanair Shanair Uparame Buddhya Dhruti Grihitaya Atma Samstam Manah Kritva Na Kinchit Api Chintayet. So he's saying that this is a systemic process. You can't expect to achieve what Arjuna achieved in just 2 classes. Okay, today I came to the Saskan, tomorrow I am in Madhyamadikari, day after tomorrow I am in Uttamadikari, and the 4th day I am Paramahamsa, and the 5th day I am a Parajajkarya. Really fantastic. If somebody is blessed, it can happen also, because they say this Kripa Sadhya. If somebody can be infested with that Kripa from Srila Prabhupada, yes, I am not saying it is completely not possible, but not probable. So what is probable is Sadhya Bhakti. Not Kripa Sadhya, but Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti is a sure shot program which Srila Prabhupada has given us. Because if you follow what is being told to us in that same systematic manner, it's like physics. So the results are bound to come. So there is no change there. It's like cooking. Okay, if you are following the recipe correctly, the result will be perfect. If the recipe is, messed up with our own supreme intelligence, then maybe the result will not be perfect. But that's what he says. But Shanair Shanair Uparamed. But you can actually measure your systemic progress. They say that is guaranteed. Okay, what is that test with which we can make sure that yes, the bhakti practices that I have performed for this many period that I am associated with this wonderful International Society of Krishna Consciousness, I am definitely made some progress. What is the test? What is the litmus paper that will, give us that result, which will ensure or which will help us increase our enthusiasm in serving the mission, the devotees, the yatra, Srila Prabhupada more? What is that test? Radha Prabhu, you said something. What is that test? How will we know? Because we need to know. We should be goal oriented. It is not something that okay, I'm trying to give Krishna my time. That's why I'm coming here. No, we are not so very what should I say, charitable people. We always make sure that what I am receiving in this whole process. And Srila Prabhupada wanted us to be goal oriented. He said, he uses this word Krita Sadhya. It's there in Rupa Goswami talks about it in Nectar of Devotion, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Kriti Sadhya. Kriti Sadhya means you should have some plans, you should have some goals in Krishna consciousness. It is not something, that you simply come and go, and it is not some entertainment that is happening here. There is some serious thing that is being conveyed here, and we should receive that in all seriousness. So something to be serious, it should be well planned. We should have a goal. So what is the test that our goals are being objective? We are all working somewhere. We have our targets, performance targets. We are all appraised. Okay. And we have to perform against those appraisals. If you don't perform, you're fired. So Krishna will fire us also from Krishna consciousness if we are not performing our goals, meeting our expectations. So what is the test for meeting the expectations?
Taste for non-devotional things.
Exactly, beautiful. How much taste, this taste that we are having towards non-devotional things, and how much taste we are having towards devotional things. Thank you, Prabhu. Nitya Prabhu, fantastic that he hits the bullseye. He said that this is the thing. But more so than the taste for devotional things, our real test is the distaste for non-devotional things, because that is where we have our attachment much, because the raga, dvesha, vimukta is too. So that is there we are more associated. Anadi karma phale bhavi bhavarna jale kari vare na dekhi upay. Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. Anadi karma. We don't know when I started this, in which janma, a million janma ago, a zillion janma ago, when did I start it? I have no idea. But I know I have accumulated tremendous amount of karma phala. So our attachment towards non-devotional things is the strongest. So that is where we should be focusing. If we see there is some relief there, then yes, the process of Krishna consciousness as given by Prabhupada, which I am trying to fulfill to the best of my abilities, is giving me results. And this test we should keep doing. We can cheat because we are doing self-appraisal here. Nobody is trying to appraise us. We are testing our own, position in Krishna consciousness. We can cheat, but Krishna says, I'm the biggest cheat. Dyutam charashyatam asmi. Okay, you can try to be very smart with me, but if I start to be smart with you, then you're finished. So it is up to us whether we want to risk that with Krishna or be very obedient and say, sorry Krishna, I know you're the boss. Much of my stupidity or smartness will not work in your presence. So we have to understand that we are infinitesimally small. Srila Prabhupada uses this word often. It looks like we might have some great abilities, but Krishna says in comparison to me, it is very infinitesimal. Infinitesimal means like there is no even point putting our name there. That is what it means, that if it's infinitesimally strong. So that's what he conveys in the 6th chapter, 25th verse. But Shanai Shanaya, it will happen. Just stick to the process. It's like if you purchase the right ticket, you have the right travel documents, you have sat in the right mode of travel, that means that it is sure that you'll reach your destination. So there is no worry about that. So that is what Srila Prabhupada has given us, and it's working. It's working for so many people. So why wouldn't it work for us? It should work. If you are following it in the same seriousness those devotees who are advancing are following. So that's the key. Mahajana yena gata supatta. If I am following the path of the Mahajans, then I will reach the same place that the Mahajans reached. So there is no question there. So let's go a little ahead. This is the most important shloka which, all the shlokas that I have taken so far is even before the starting of the Bhakti Yoga chapters. We are still on the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita. That is Srila Prabhupada has elaborated what Krishna has conveyed to Arjuna in the most beneficial way for us. And this shloka is the most important. This is full condensation of the teachings of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Amito tumar, tumito amar. I am yours and you are mine. This is what Krishna says on the 6th chapter, 30th verse. Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami same sa cha me na pranashyati. For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Amito tumar, tumito amar. I am yours, you are mine. See, the Sharanagati has been given repeatedly in the Bhagavad-gita. So this is the reason why I am just, taking a small memory trail back to all that we discussed before we are reaching today's shloka, the 18.8. Because we have to progressively compare that which we are learning today with which we learned earlier, so that we are able to compare and harmonize what Krishna is saying. Otherwise we can make that claim like that devotee made who wanted to have chai on the basis of Bhagavad-gita. And going ahead, 10.8, the first of the Chaturshloki Gita, Krishna makes this point, Buddha bhava samanvita, that's the last line, Naham sarvasya prabho matas sarvam pravartate iti matva vajante mam Buddha bhava samanvita. Here that word samanvita, samanvaya, or how do we harmonize what Krishna told us in the first chapter, what Krishna told us in the second chapter, the third, fourth, fifth, all the way up to what we are going to hear on the 18th chapter. How do we harmonize everything? Because there are so many contradictions. There is one name of Krishna is Viruddha Dharma Ashraya. He is the shelter of all contradictions. Madhvacharya gives him this name. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says this is his nature. And he says this is Radharani's nature also in Chaitanya Charitamrita on Adi Leela, 2nd chapter. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am Viruddha Dharma Ashraya. I am full of contradictions. And Radharani is also full of contradictions. So how will we understand something which is contradicting? From where do we get that intelligence? Buddha Bhava. Krishna says that I bless you with that intelligence. But what is the condition? Aham sarvas prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate. In this you cannot have any doubts. That I am the most supreme and everything has emanated from me. In this, even if you have 0.0000000000001% doubt, still you don't qualify for this. Because it has to be completely full surrender. So only then what I do, I invest my intelligence on that person so that he gets that intelligence how to harmonize these contradictions. If you're not able to harmonize the contradictions, then we are lost. Then instead of 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, there could be 1,000,000 Sampradayas, because every one of us will have our own Sampradaya. Because we were not able to harmonize what Krishna said. But I am contradictions, that is a fact. But there is also means by which you can empower yourself to harmonize these contradictions. So we listen to all this. So now we will go to the most important shloka which just came before today's shloka, which is shloka number 5, in which he says that there are 3 things that nobody can avoid or nobody should avoid in their life. And this, he says, even purifies the most great souls. Even the Mahatmas are get purified because of diligently following these 3 activities. Yajna tapah karma na tyajyam karyam eva tat yajyo danam tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam. Acts of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity and penance purify even great souls. This particular shloka completely summarizes the teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So, many of you here have visited Mayapur, right? Been to the Gaudiya Math in Mayapur? There is something written on the iron gate of Gaudiya Math of Mayapur. It summarizes Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's teachings, and which is nothing but this verse. Krishna Kam, Krishna Nam, Krishna Dham. So the entire teachings of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur can be summarized in this 3 words. Krishna Kam, Krishna Nam, Krishna Dham. So that is what Krishna says here. The acharyas are very intelligent. They know what they are talking. They don't speak anything that is out of context. So this is what is the inspiration from where Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur got this beautiful saying, Krishna Kam, Krishna Nam, Krishna Dham. Here he takes about acts of sacrifice, charity and penance are not to be given up. Yet sacrifice for us is Krishna Kam, because we are sacrificing all that is irrelevant to devotion of Krishna. Right? Sacrificing TV. We are not interested in IPL anymore. We don't care if the World Cup of anything that is happening around us. Who won the World Cup? Who is having the latest world record in 100 meter running? We don't know. We might be very naive and stupid in these things. And the people think that we are leading a very horrible life because we don't know these things. What kind of a life are you leading? Are you living in this world or are you from some other world? We are looked at like extraterrestrials, Maybe from some other planet and we have come down here by accident. But the thing, this is Krishna Kam. Because it is not enough that we are taking Anukulyasya Sankalpa. That alone is not enough. We have to be very strong with Pratikulyasya Varjana. In fact, our focus should be more on Pratikulyasya Varjanam, then automatically Anukulyasya Sankalpa will follow. Because in our situation, that needs to be avoided is what we should be meditating a lot on. And if that anarthas go away, then we automatically go to Nishtha. Right? So this anarthas, all that is non-beneficial in obtaining the lotus feet of Krishna is what we should be meditating more. So this is Krishna Kam. And next he says is charity. Charity for us is Krishna Dham. Because what is the best charity? Krishna says, later it will come in the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad-gita, one that who reveals the signs of my knowledge to others is a person that is more dear to me and he will attain me without fail. Krishna says that. So the best charity is that giving this charity of knowledge of the Bhagavad-gita. So this is our Krishna Dham. This way we associate with devotees. And Krishna says, Yatra gayanti madbhakta tatra tishtami narada. Naham sistami vaikunte yogi nam nileyeshuva. I don't know who says that I live in Vaikunta. I don't live in Vaikunta. Nor do I stay in the heart of the speculative yogis or the meditative yogis or the speculative jnanis. I don't stay in their heart. Tatra tishtami narada yatra gayanti madbhakta. And Srila Prabhupada says, this is your Mathura Vas. The Panchanga Bhakti, where Rupa Goswami talks about Mathura Vas, the important element of Bhakti. And for us, this is our Mathura, this is our Vaikuntha, this is our Dwaraka, this is our Vrindavan. Because we are in that group of devotees, all of whom the expectation is the same. When will I obtain that service, eternal service of the lotus feet of Krishna? So as long as you are associating with devotees who are eager for this particular event, when it is going to happen in my life, then we are in the best association. And that place is nothing less than Vaikuntha. You are here already. Srila Prabhupada says that, okay, this is Dukalyam Shashvatam. Then one news reporter says, and how come your disciples are so jubilant? You say the whole world is miserable. This is your the strongest preaching point. But I see something that is happening in your temple which is exactly the opposite. In every kirtan, your disciples are jumping, their roof is hitting, the head is hitting the roof of the building. How are they able to jump and dance in great joy? Because they are living in Vaikuntha. Srila Prabhupada made this point. So our Vaikuntha is in our consciousness. Like that lotus flower, lotus leaf, lotus plant. It stays in the most filthy water, but it's completely unaffected by the effects of that water. So a devotee in his consciousness, and this is what the art of Krishna consciousness is all about. How we elevate into that consciousness. So this is our Krishna Dham. The more you give this knowledge, the more you try to absorb this knowledge, the more you meditate on this knowledge, the more you want to share this knowledge, so you are doing Krishna Dham. You always want to associate with devotees, you always want to give this message to others, you want to make sure that you are helping people develop in Krishna consciousness. If this is the most important thing in our life, I think it should not be the most important thing in our life. It should be the only important thing in our life. If it is the only important thing in our life, because in one lecture I heard from the Holiness Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he said that, is Krishna consciousness the most important aim of your life? Somebody said yes. No, it's a bad answer. Krishna consciousness should be your only aim in life. Because that's what the jiva knows. Otherwise, this word has no meaning. Nitya-dāsa has got no meaning. If you have any other objective, and all the important objectives, the importance of Krishna consciousness is also there, means now we are fooling ourselves. So that means that we are not Nitya Krishna Das. So we need to again think on that. And lastly, Krishna Naam is like the penance. We are struggling with our mind, with our bodily discomforts, but we want to chant the holy name. So this is our penance. No matter what, I might have some 102 degree fever, I might not have, or I might have done 18-hour service for Janmashtami. I'm really, the body tires now. Okay, we are serving the mission, we are serving Srila Prabhupada, we are serving the requirements of the yatra. And we did not do anything which is prajalpa that day. It was all fully meditative on Krishna, because we were serving the mission for Janmashtami, Ustav. But still we want to finish our 16 rounds, because this is the commitment that we have taken. Right? This is our penance. Not taking excuse of time, not taking excuse of inability, not taking excuse of sickness, not taking excuse of anything, but still diligently fulfilling our commitment of chanting the 16 rounds. This is Krishna Naam, the penance, the sincerity that we show in chanting the holy names. We can be chanting or we can be counting. These are two different things. Sometimes, we see devotees, classes going on, or some wonderful kirtan is going on, Ratha Utsav is going on, but still some people are Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. They're just going around here and there, trying to finish their grounds. But we are only counting here, we are not chanting. Because the mind is absorbed on what is happening inside the hall, and how beautiful Jagannath Baladev Subhadra is, and we cannot. So we are talking about focusing on chanting here, Counting is very big thing. There's a beautiful seminar of Jayavadet Swami Maharaj that you can hear on this, available on ISKCON where he gives so many common mistakes that we do, that devotees do. We're not talking about people here who have just entered this hall and trying to understand Srila Prabhupada and Krishna consciousness. Maharaj is not talking about those people. Maharaj is talking about those people who have been in the moment and who have taken this very seriously in their life, but are still committing mistakes. So it's a big, eye-opener for us. When I heard it like 4-5 years ago, it was like amazing. And we should hear that seminar series, on chanting, on good chanting, how we can do. This is very important. So because this is also Parampara Acharya or Sampradaya Acharya's conclusion. Krishna Kam, Krishna Antaham, Krishna Nam. So now we come back to today's verse, and I'm already like 5 minutes over my scheduled time. I'm sorry, Anuttam Gopal Prabhu, you are very clear where I should stop, but I have still made the mistake of going beyond. So can I take just 5 more minutes and we will complete? Here Srila Prabhupada talks about one important factor of fear. In today's purport he talks about one who is in Krishna consciousness to not give up earning money out of fear that he is performing fruitive activities. So here this is where the conclusion of the teaching of Rupa Goswami is harmonized here by Srila Prabhupada. This is the essential characteristics of a Yukta Vairagi. See, the Yukta Vairagi, he is completely renounced from the material aspects of life. But at the same time, he does not have even the slightest fear to use them if it has got some use in Krishna service. The best living example of that is Srila Prabhupada and his glorious disciples who are we so fortunate to look at them, take darshan of them, take guidance from them. They use all the modern gadgets that are available so wonderfully in Krishna service. So this is the best example of a Yukta Vairagi. Anasaktasya vishayam yataham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. So that's the key element here, nirbandha Krishna sambandhe. As long as everything has got a possibility to be used in Krishna's service, don't have the slightest fear against that. So that is what Srila Prabhupada is saying here. The purport is harmonizing it. He is saying that no. And similarly, if by working one can engage his money in Krishna consciousness, or if by rising early in the morning one can advance and transcend to Krishna. He is saying it is as good. You are rising early and having a fantastic morning program, which is very recommended. Srila Prabhupada was very strong, very emphatic about rising early and having a very strong morning program, because that builds up the full momentum of what we are trying to do in the rest of the day in Krishna consciousness. So earning money can also be as beneficial if you know how to use that in Krishna consciousness. And many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples have done it. So we recently had the good fortune of Yadubara Prabhu, who's here. He was a very successful businessman, and he knew how to use that money in Srila Prabhupada's service. He's been making films of Srila Prabhupada from time immemorial. And similarly, some time back, we had the good fortune of taking association of Narasimhananda Prabhu, who started ISKCON television from America. Who you remember? We had good classes with him. He's a very successful businessman, and he uses his full wealth in Srila Prabhupada's service. And some devotees would have known, Prabhuji definitely knows, Haripal Prabhu, who stays in Manipal in Udupi, and he teaches there very widely, very fixed devotee, very strong disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He and his good wife, Bharani Mataji, they were extremely successful in business. And when he wound up his business, he gave only 25% of the wealth to his children. The 75% was donated to the temple. And he kept only 5% for himself. So these are live examples before us. What Srila Prabhupada is asking us in today's purport. His disciples are living by this example. And we simply follow them, and we also can do the same thing. So he said, don't fear. Because these things will happen to you. All good fortune will come on that person who is chanting the holy names. He says that. In fact, so much good qualities come, even the demigods would want to come and worship that person. So much good qualities have come. Prahlad Maharaj makes that statement in Srimad Bhagavatam. Sarver gune tatra samasate suraha. Yashathya bhaktir bhagavati rakanchana. Sarver gune tatra samasate suraha. Sura means devatas. They will have qualities exceeding the devatas. Who's taking refuge in Krishna? Akinchan, who's completely surrendered in Akinchan mood to Krishna and serving him. In that frame of mind, he's saying all good qualities come to that person. And he also says, Harau avaktasya kuto mahan guna. So somebody is avakta, Hari avakta, who is non-devotee of Krishna, kuto. From where form he will have any good qualities? So he is talking about all the Bill Gates, the Mukesh Ambanis of the world, who are very respected in our opinion. But if he is a Hari Avakta, then Kuto Mahan Guna is all this big opulences that the world is talking is actually nothing in front of him. So what is he doing? Manoratena asti dhavato barihi. He is only on the chariot of his mind and his ego, and is simply doing Brahman of this world. So good qualities will come to us, and there will be a lot of praises. People will glorify us. But there is a small problem here. So we could also get sidetracked by these glories. But we are sharp, and we are very conscious that all these good qualities have come to me or not actually mine. This is mercy, prasadam adhigacchati. We talked about that earlier. This is nothing but the manifest form of the mercy of Krishna, which I am receiving from his great warrior, Srila Prabhupada. If we are in this consciousness and we offer all the glorifications to Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, then we don't have a problem. But otherwise we can be easily sidetracked. And then he makes one important statement here. One should not desist out of fear or because of such activities are considered troublesome. So they are not actually troublesome. We don't have to become a Falgu Vairagi. We don't have to simply sacrifice something just for the sake of sacrificing. That's not recommended here. So don't sacrifice. People say that, oh, what should I do? I'm so wealthy. My company has given, I'm in this position, my company has given me an Audi car. Should I take it or should I not take it? Will it look like that I'm showing off my wealth? I said, why? If they are giving you 5 Audi cars, take all 5. Give it to 5 devotees, let them use for Krishna service. What is the harm? Somebody came and your business is, you are so expert in business, you are making $1 billion profit every year. If there is a way that you can make it to 2 billion, do it. But not by spending so much time. But in the same efforts if Krishna is giving you, then take it and offer it everything to Krishna. Krishna takes everything. Srila Prabhupada says, give me how much ever billions you have, I know how to use it in Krishna's service. Srila Prabhupada never ran away from money. He showed by his example that offer me any amount of money, I will take it. I know how to use it in Krishna's service. So these are Yukta Vairagis, They are our heroes. They are our role model. Then this sloka will make a lot of sense to us. But if we start thinking like, the Kattar who wants to exclude and stay in some very chilly, snowy cave in Himalaya, naiti, just simply sacrificing things for the sake of sacrificing, then there is no way. We get caught in today's verse and we're caught in this vicious misconception, and this will not take us in good Krishna conscious standing. So finally he says that the result of passionate work is always miserable. It's a beautiful statement. The result of passionate work is always miserable. Because sometimes we get too passionate towards the gulab jamun, we have 4 or 5, then we become miserable. Because at that point of time, when we are overeating even prasadam, it is actually a result of passion. Because we got an attachment of, it is prasadam, it's Krishna's mercy, but sometimes even, that since we are very limited, we cannot enjoy it unlimitedly. But that is a place where we can enjoy it unlimitedly, but we have to go there first. So here we cannot enjoy it unlimitedly, so that becomes a problem. And if you see, the whole creation is a result of this. That's why Krishna claims this Dukalayam. Because Brahma was in the mode of passion when he created this, right? So this whole material world is a creation of passion. That's why it's misery. Srila Prabhupada is so beautiful, so brilliant. And Brahma, the whole creation is a result of passion. And that's why this is Dukalayam. And we are trying to make it better here. It's simply not possible. So if a person renounces work in that spirit, he never gets renunciation. Srila Prabhupada's message is very clear on how we have to approach this material world and how we have to approach renunciation. This last chapter really talks about renunciation. Not about superficial, falgu renunciation, it talks about Yukta Vairagi. So thank you so much for the opportunity and your patient hearing. I will stop my long rambling here. Thank you so much, Srila Prabhupada. I don't know if you have time.